Are you interested in being a better husband, a better father, and a better man at work? You are in the right place. Welcome to Rock Solid Men, where we're becoming better men led by the God who created us. I'm Chad Starfelt, and I'm your host. Join me for a weekly dose of truth as we seek to become better men of God.
Hey guys, glad you're tuning in for another episode of Rock Solid Men. This is part 2 of the parable of two kids. Last week we talked about some things not to do, 10 things not to do. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, I encourage you to do that. I go into a little bit more detail about each of the two kids, but I'll do a little bit of review of the stories today as well. Today, in part 2 of the parable of two kids, we're talking about loyalty and how to build loyalty in your kids, how to build them to be loyal to you as their father. You want to pass on certain traits to them. You want to pass on certain values to them. You want them not to do certain things and to do certain things and believe in certain things. And so today we're going to focus on 3 things to help build that kind of loyalty and that kind of connection with you. So just a little bit of a review of the two kids and this parable. So first we had Tom. Tom didn't have a very good relationship with his dad. As a teenager, he kind of rebelled. He didn't have a lot in common with his dad. His dad wasn't sure what to do. His dad wasn't very active in church with the family. So Tom did his own thing, and he got involved with sex early on. He got involved with drinking pretty early on in life. He went through lots of jobs in high school and dropped out of college because he just wasn't that good at commitments. He wasn't modeled that, and it wasn't part of who he was because of his lack of connection with his father. After a couple semesters of college, he dropped out, started his own money-making business that was really more about lies than about truth. Went through lots of different women over the years that have lived with him. And so in his 40s, he's got a few kids that he only sees a couple weekends a month, and he's still living alone trying to figure out what life is all about. Then we have Billy. Billy was brought up by a father that really committed time and energy and affection towards his son. Billy's dad went to church with him as a family, with the family. Billy's dad did things with him, really passed on his faith and his values to Billy, made sure that connection stayed strong. So Billy, finished high school, finished college with a good degree, had a great job, and went to raise a great family and has a faithful wife. So what kind of son or daughter are you going to raise? What kind of values are you passing on? And all of us want to raise amazing kids, right? But we have to know that part of raising amazing kids is our connection with our sons and daughters, our relationship with them. We can't be a dictator. We can't be someone who just comes in and tells them what to do. We can't be rarely around them if we want to influence them and their future. Some parents, I think, just kind of have this mentality that they want their sons and daughters to survive. If they graduate high school, great. If they don't, they can get their GED. Hopefully they don't end up in jail or on drugs, and that's pretty much their goal in life. But what if we strived for something bigger and better? What if instead of just wanting them to survive, we wanted them to thrive in life? So we had that goal to raise kids who would thrive as adults, raise kids with integrity and honesty, raise kids that had high standards for themselves and high goals for what they would do in life, raise kids who had a desire to honor God with all they had in their life. Remember the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Many of you may be too young for that movie. I'm not sure. I'm certainly dating myself if you've never seen this movie. But Ferris Bueller's Day Off was a hysterical movie about Ferris Bueller and his friend Cameron Fry taking the day off of school and going on a little joyride with Cameron's dad's very, very, very expensive car. Now, Cameron did not have a good relationship with his father, did he? He really hated that car because, honestly, his dad loved that car way more than he loved his own son. And so towards the end, when they realized they wouldn't be able to put the odometer back by putting in reverse, and then it eventually crashes out the window and crashes down a story off of this garage, this all-glass garage, and destroys the car, Cameron just doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's mad and he does not care. He's trying to be a perfect kid for his dad, but he just doesn't care anymore because he knows his dad doesn't care about him. He knows his dad cares about that car way more than he cares about his son. And so, it just is sad, a sad, to some extent, end of the story because there isn't that relationship there. That's not what we want. We want great relationships with our kids, and we want it obvious to them that they matter to us way more than anything else. Except for our wife and our God. They are more important than above our kids. But so today we're going to focus on 3 things to build that loyalty. Number 1 on the list of building loyalty in our kids to us is attention. Spending time with them. Too often we allow good things, but not great things, to steal away valuable time, priceless time, unrecoverable time with our kids. Some good things that may steal time away from our kids are things like doing a little extra gig, a little extra job to pay for that car, or pay for that extra toy we want, or pay for that extra cabin or place up north or something like that. That's something that can really steal away time. Another thing is house projects. You want to keep the wife happy wife, happy life. But we got to be careful that our kids don't see our home being more of a priority, more of a child to us than our children themselves. How about work stuff? Just making work stuff. And that thing you needs to get done by 8 o'clock tomorrow that you still have to work on at home. Sometimes we need to do that, but it certainly shouldn't be every night where we're putting work things over spending time with our kids. Some better things, right, to spend our time on, some better things to focus on is just laughing with our kids, having fun with our kids. Maybe it's a water fight in the summer. Maybe it's karaoke. That's something our family has loved to do. There's all kinds of fun karaoke videos on YouTube that you can use. There's a new game called the burrito game, I think it's called. And basically you throw this stuffed fake toy burrito at each other if they draw a certain card. And man, is it a blast. It is so fun. A few weeks ago, we were running around the house chasing each other down for the burrito game. Nothing like building those kinds of memories and fun with your kids. Another thing you can do just to spend time and attention with your kids is go for a ride together, go for a car ride, make any excuse for them to come with you to the hardware store or to run some errands. The time in the car is a great time where they're trapped and you can have a conversation with them. And if you need to ask them to put their phone away during that time or leave the DVD player off in your car so you can have a conversation, that's a good thing to do too. Especially when they're younger, I'd say under the age of 13 or so, time at bed, just tucking them in, asking them how did their day go. I really wanted to tuck in my kids all the way through high school because that's what my parents did, and I'll talk about that more in a second. But my kids weren't really up for that, at least not the girls. And so it lasted till about 13. But just praying with them, reading a little Bible story with them, asking them what was good and not so good about their day is a really, really valuable time. You can do that at dinner as well, just asking them what went well and what did not go so well that day. Again, as I've said before, spending time in the Word together, spending time in prayer together, whether it's one proverb a day or one psalm a day or a little section of one of the Gospels a day, a great way to connect with your kids and share your faith. What are some good questions you can ask your kids to connect with them? Here's a few. How are you doing really? Just to dig a little bit deeper. What concerns you right now in your life? What things are you worried about? What are you most excited about right now? All great questions that you can use at any age. And it's okay to just throw those questions out of nowhere at them during dinner or as you're riding around in the car getting errands done. Some fathers do a great job of doing a weekly connection with their son or daughter, weekly go out for breakfast or weekly go out for a Coke. Daughters love date nights, maybe once a month or once every other month. Sons like guys' night out and doing guy things, racing RC cars. Some sons love doing things like go-karts or things like that, paintball. Fun things to do with your son. And it doesn't have to be costly things. It can be a bike ride or playing a game together, playing catch together, sitting at a coffee shop together. Obviously, it depends on the age of your kids. I've tried to do an annual overnight with each of my kids each year, starting at the age of about 12. And just going overnight somewhere with them and connecting really around a different topic each year, something that I felt was important to chat with them about. And that's been a really, really good thing. There's a relatively famous story about Brooks Adams. Brooks Adams was the son of Charles Adams, who was the U.S. ambassador to Great Britain under the Lincoln administration. And he was about 8 years old when he wrote in his diary one afternoon, "Went fishing with my father, the most glorious day of my life." And unaware of this, his dad also kept a diary, and he too had marked a comment about that same exact day and event actually as well. And the dad, Charles Adams, wrote, "Went fishing with my son, a day wasted." He missed the significant impact he had on his son that day. Just going fishing with his son was huge. And we need to make sure we don't miss those moments as well. At times we can feel like it's a waste of time to push our child in the swing set or run something to them that they forgot and we have to run it to them at school, or give them a kiss while they're doing their homework, or teach them how to ride a bike. But those are not wasted moments. Those are huge, valuable moments. So what did your dad do to give you attention? One thing my dad did was take us camping. He loved camping and he loved spending time with his boys. I'm one of 3 sons, and that was huge for him. And what can you do to show attention, to make your kids a priority in your life? So first is attention. Number 2 is affirmation. Both children and adults want affirmation. They want praise from their dads. They want praise from others. I believe actually all people are starving for attention. And when we give our kids that kind of affirmation, that kind of encouragement, we turn their hearts towards us. When we affirm them, we engage them with us. We knit them together with us. And then when they see us as a source of affirmation, a source of feeling good about themselves, a source of encouragement, then that causes them to want to be around us. It causes them a greater connection to us, which is exactly what we want. When Jesus was baptized, a voice from heaven said, "You are my son, in you I am well pleased." Mark chapter 1, verse 7. God the Father publicly affirmed Jesus by speaking love and acceptance over him. And so it is so important for us to communicate that kind of love and affirmation to our sons and daughters. They need to know that you love them and that you are proud of them. If you didn't receive a lot of affirmation from your parents, then you know how much of a deficit that gave you or gives a person. If you did receive a lot of affirmation and accolades from your parents, then you know how much that propelled you forward during difficult times. What you say about your children also around other adults matters so much. That's a huge thing my parents did. And I don't think they really even did it on purpose. Maybe they did. But every time they would introduce me, they would say, "This is our youngest son, Chad. He's our hard-working son." Wow, did that encourage me? It just made me want to work that much harder, that much more. What did your parents do to affirm you, to encourage you? And what can you do to do the same for your children? The last one is affection. Our Heavenly Father pours out his unconditional love on us. And we want to share that with our children as well. Jesus reached out with his love for us, touched us with his love through his death and resurrection on the cross with his truth. And we want to make sure that our children know they are loved by each one of us, by their dad. So you want to kiss them, you want to hold them, you want to cuddle with them. When your kids are little, you want to wrestle with them, right? And you want to tickle them, but not too much. You want to carry them on your shoulders and do all that kind of tender, loving care, that daddy kind of stuff. When they're teenagers, it gets to be a little bit more hard. They're not necessarily as cuddly. They're not necessarily as huggy. They're not necessarily as open to connect in a physical way with you. But you got to do it a little bit more on their terms once they become teenagers. They'll still want a hug, and you still need to initiate that as well. They'll still want to cuddle and sit next to you on the couch at times, but you just got to do it a little bit more on their terms, and they will still do those things. Boys who feel loved by their dads, they're bolder, they're stronger, they're kinder to others, and they're more secure in their manhood. Girls who feel valued by their dads, they're more radiant, they're less desperate for a boyfriend, and they're more careful about who they marry. So invest in your kids, take them places, leave no question in their mind about your genuine love and care for them. What did your parents do to show affection to you? As I said earlier, my parents would tuck us in every single night. Both parents would come up one at a time, all the way actually through college. They would come up, give us a kiss, and not literally tuck us in, but just kind of ask about our day. And my dad would always say, "Sweet dreams, love you, see you tomorrow." But then on Friday night or Saturday night, he would say, "See you in the morning," because every other day Dad would leave before I got up. But on Friday and Saturday, he would be there when I got up. So he would change the phrase on those nights to say, "See you in the morning." And man, I have great memories of just them tucking me in and how much of an impression that made on me. So to keep your kids loyal, to help them propel in the right direction, do these three things. Give them attention, give them affirmation, and give them affection. Maybe as an action step this week, you can ask your wife or one of your children, what's the one thing of these three you're best at? And which one do they think you could grow in? Attention, affirmation, or affection? I encourage you to like us on Facebook at Rock Solid Men. Also, on Facebook, comment on today's episode. That would be awesome. That helps raise the amount of times that post will show up in other guys' feed. Also, I would love for you to rate us on iTunes or comment on iTunes, though that also raises the visibility of this podcast and gets the word out. If you have a question for me, feel free to message me on our Facebook page. God bless, guys. Have a great week. Until next week.